You know, when you watch a really good spy movie, there's always that scene where they slip a microscopic tracking bug onto the villain's car.
Oh, yeah, the classic trope.
Yeah,
Right under the bumper.
exactly. It's completely invisible to the naked eye. But, back at headquarters, it tells the team exactly where that car is, where it's been, and where it's going.
Right.
It basically provides the entire context of the situation without anyone even noticing it's there. And, well, believe it or not, you just use dozens of these tracking bugs in the last few minutes of conversation without a second thought.
It's so true. We just drop them in constantly.
Yeah. I'm talking about 3 of the tiniest words in the English language. A, an, and the. So, welcome to this deep dive. Our mission today is to demystify these invisible trackers and really look at the underlying cognitive psychology of how we use them.
And it is a massive cognitive load.
Yeah.
Especially if you are coming to English from a language like Hindi or Russian or Japanese.
Because they don't even have these words, right?
Exactly. Those languages don't use articles at all. So for speakers of those languages, these 3 little words are often the absolute biggest barrier to sounding fluent.
I can imagine. They just look like random filler words on the page.
Right. But they are actually a highly complex tracking system for shared knowledge. Every single time you drop one of these into a sentence, you are secretly signaling to the listener's brain whether you're talking about something entirely new, something specific, or something general.
So you're constantly quietly managing the listener's expectations.
Precisely. You're giving them a map.
Which is wild for words that are like 1 to 3 letters long.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into the deep psychology of why we manage those expectations, we have to talk about the physical reality of human speech.
Oh, the mouth mechanics.
Yeah,
Yes.
because the rule most of us vaguely remember from grade school about the indefinite articles a and an is actually a total trap.
It really is.
We're taught to just look at the first letter of the next word. A, E, I, O, U gets an an, and everything else gets an a.
Which completely ignores how human communication actually evolved. I mean, this isn't a spelling rule. It's a biological workaround.
Okay, let's unpack this. What do you mean by biological?
Well, it is entirely about the mechanics of the mouth and the vocal cords. You use a before words that begin with a consonant sound, and an before words that begin with a vowel sound.
Wait, so it's about the audio, not the visual text.
Always the audio. Linguists look at this as a way to avoid what is called a glottal stop.
A glottal stop?
Yeah. Try saying a apple out loud right now. Just say it.
Apple.
Oh, wow.
Right.
You have to physically pause your breath, close your vocal cords, and restart the airflow to make those 2 vowel sounds back to back. A, apple.
It feels really awkward, like I'm glitching.
Exactly. It disrupts the whole rhythm of speech. So the word an simply creates a phonetic bridge, so your mouth can glide effortlessly from one word to the next. An apple.
Oh, man. That makes the weird exceptions suddenly logical. Like, take the phrase an hour. It starts with an H, which is a consonant on paper.
Right, but the H is silent.
Yeah. Your vocal cords are gearing up to make that open hour sound, which is a vowel sound. If you say hour, you hit that awkward glottal stop again. So, an hour. Same mechanism for an honest man.
Spot on. And, it works in reverse, too. Look at the word university.
Okay. Starts with a U, a literal vowel.
Yes, but your mouth isn't making a soft vowel sound. You are physically forming the sound U.
Huh.
You are starting with a consonant Y sound.
Oh, like yellow or a yo-yo.
Exactly. Because there is no vowel collision, you just don't need the bridge. So you say a university, or a unique experience, or even a European country.
Oh, right. European starts with an E, but it forces your mouth to make that year sound.
You've got it. All about the physical movement of the mouth.
But wait, if it's entirely about the sound leaving the mouth, how does that apply to acronyms? Like, if I have a master's degree in business, I write down MBA.
Nope.
M is definitely a consonant. But I wouldn't say, I have an MBA.
We'll sound it out. How do you pronounce the letter M in isolation?
M? Oh, I hear it. It starts with a sharp E sound.
Yeah.
MBA.
There it is. Your vocal cords are starting on a vowel. So to avoid the stutter, you need the bridge, an MPA. Same goes for an X-ray, because you are saying X.
That is so cool. It forces you to stop reading the language as text and start experiencing it as like physical sound waves.
Exactly. It's deeply physical.
Okay, so if A and an are just mouth mechanics designed to keep our speech smooth, how do they actually function as tracking bugs? Let's zoom out from the vocal cords to how these words build an actual narrative.
Yeah, this brings us to the fundamental difference between the indefinite articles a and the definite article the. It really boils down to first mentions versus second mentions.
First versus second, got it.
Think of the indefinite article as a wide-angle camera lens panning across a scene, introducing something new and non-specific. Then the definite article is the camera zooming in on something specific that has already been identified.
Give me a concrete example, just a simple one.
Okay, I saw a dog. The dog was barking.
Let's pull that apart. I saw a dog. So in that first sentence, the camera is panning across like a crowded park. Out of nowhere, a dog enters the frame.
Right. It's brand new information to you, the listener. You don't know its breed, its size, or its name.
But the very next sentence changes the psychological state of our conversation. The dog was barking.
Yes. Notice what happened in the listener's brain right there. The lens focused. We're no longer talking about any random dog in the universe.
We are talking about that specific dog we just established in our shared reality.
Exactly. If I were to walk up to you on the street, having said absolutely nothing beforehand and just say, I saw the dog, your brain would frantically search its memory cache.
I'd be thinking, which dog? Did I miss a text message? Am I supposed to know this dog? It would induce this tiny moment of like cognitive panic.
Because I used the wrong tracking bug. I told your brain that this information was already shared when it was actually brand new.
That makes perfect sense. But introducing new characters in a story isn't the only time we use the wide-angle A or an lens, right? Like, we use them for jobs and professions, too.
Yes, we do.
We say, she is a doctor, or he's an engineer. We don't say she is the doctor unless we're, I don't know, talking about a specific hospital context.
Right, because by saying a doctor, you are placing her into a general category. She's one of many doctors in the world.
Makes sense.
The same logic applies to general singular facts, like a triangle has 3 sides. It's any triangle. Or for frequency, like I brush my teeth twice a day, or apples are $10 a kilo.
But there is a massive restriction here, isn't there? Like a hard limit on when we can actually use a and an.
Yes, there is. They fundamentally mean one. Historically, they actually derive from the Old English word for one.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And because of that DNA, they can only ever be used with singular countable nouns.
Meaning things you can physically separate and count, like 1 dog, 2 dogs, 1 apple, 2 apples. That makes sense. I can't say I need a water because water is, well, a liquid mass. It's uncompoundable.
Right. You can't have 2 waters or 3 rices. The only way you can use a with an uncountable noun is if you are using a culturally understood shorthand for a container.
Oh, like walking into a cafe and saying, I'll have a coffee.
Yes. That is universally understood to mean a cup of coffee. The cup is the countable noun, even if it's invisible in the actual sentence.
Which brings up a really fascinating linguistic mystery for me. If English leans so heavily on these words to signal new versus known, how do languages like Russian or Japanese manage?
That's a great question.
I mean, if they don't have articles, how do they do the a dog to the dog camera zoom without just completely confusing the listener?
Well, they use entirely different cognitive mechanisms.
Yeah.
Russian, for example, relies heavily on word order to signal new versus known information.
Word order, how does that work?
Well, in English, we usually put the subject first, regardless of whether it's new or old. But in Russian, putting a noun at the end of a sentence often signals that it's new information, kind of like a dog.
Oh, interesting.
And putting it at the beginning of the sentence signals it's known information, like the dog.
So they use geography within the sentence itself.
Exactly. That and inflection and deep situational context. English, by contrast, is highly analytical. We decided to basically outsource all that heavy lifting to these tiny standalone marker words.
And without them, English sentence structure feels incredibly ambiguous.
Very much so.
Well, let's talk about the absolute most powerful marker word then, the. We've covered how to introduce new things with the wide-angle lens. Now let's look at the things that need absolutely no introduction.
The definite universe.
Right.
The is deployed when both the speaker and the listener already know exactly what is being discussed. But there are entire categories of things that automatically get a V because they are entirely unique in our shared reality.
So there is no need to pan the camera. There's only one place to look.
Precisely.
Which is why we say the sun, the moon, the internet, the equator. I mean, there aren't multiple internets to choose from.
Exactly. And this also extends to grammatical structures that force uniqueness. Think of superlatives. Those are words that push a quality to its absolute extreme limit.
Like biggest, fastest, worst.
Right. There can logically only be one tallest building in a city, so it takes the.
Same with ordinals, right?
Yeah.
Sequence words like first, second, third, there is only one first day of the month.
The logic holds perfectly Until you get to geography.
Yes, because this is where English seems to just abandon all logic and start messing with us.
It really does feel that way.
We say the Pacific Ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, we say the Nile, the Himalayas, the Sahara Desert. So clearly, big geographical features get the. But then we say Asia, just Asia, no article. Mount Everest, no article. Why the sudden inconsistency?
It actually isn't inconsistent if you look at how human beings historically conceptualize the Earth.
Really?
Yeah. Think about the difference between an ocean and a continent. An ocean is an interconnected, flowing, dynamic system. Rivers flow into seas. Seas flow into oceans. They were historically viewed as collective bodies.
Oh, I see. So they get categorized with a the.
Yes. The same goes for mountain ranges. The Himalayas is a vast collection of peaks.
Right.
But a continent like Asia or a specific mountain like Mount Everest, those are viewed as distinct, static, singular entities. They operate as proper names like John or Sarah.
And you wouldn't say the John, so you don't say the Asia.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to challenge that, though. What about the Maldives or the Bahamas? Those are specific places with proper names, but they get the article.
Look at the letter at the end of those words. The Maldives. The Bahamas.
They end in S, they're plural.
Yes. They are plural. They are a collection of islands, just like a mountain range is a collection of peaks. Whenever a geographic name implies a collection, a system, or a political grouping, it demands a the.
Oh, wow. That explains the United States.
Exactly.
The landmass itself is North America, no article, proper noun. But the political grouping is a collection of states, so it becomes the United States, the United Kingdom, the Republic of India.
You've got it. The noun structure within the name dictates the article. If the core noun is a common word like states, kingdom, or republic, you need the definite article to specify which states or kingdom you mean.
That is fascinating. And we apply the same identifying logic to time and culture, too. We use it for decades, like the 1990s, because it's a specific collection of 10 years.
Right.
And we use it for historical events, the Renaissance, the Cold War.
We even use it for musical instruments when discussing them conceptually, like she plays the piano. You aren't talking about a specific wooden object sitting in her living room. You are talking about the piano as a singular, universal concept of music.
Which actually perfectly bridges us to the deepest, strangest twist in this entire system. We've talked about a and an, we've talked about the, but sometimes the most powerful choice you can make is to use absolutely nothing at all.
Ah, yes. The zero article.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This is where leaving a word out entirely alters the very fabric of what you're trying to say.
It completely shifts the meaning.
Let's look at the classic institution versus building divide. What happens in the listener's brain if I say he went to school versus he went to the school?
The semantic difference is massive.
Yeah.
If you say he went to school, using the zero article, so no a, you are turning off the physical camera entirely.
I put off, okay.
Yeah. You are no longer talking about a place in the physical world. You are talking about an abstract purpose. Going to school means engaging in the act of learning. He is a student.
But the moment I drop that little tracking bug in there, he went to the school, the camera turns back on.
Suddenly, you are talking about brick and mortar. He traveled to a specific geographical location. Maybe he's a dad going to the school to pick up his kid, or a plumber going to fix a pipe. He isn't there for the abstract concept of education.
He's there for the building.
Exactly.
Another brilliant example of this is bed. Like, she went to bed versus the bed is broken.
Right. Going to bed is the human activity of sleeping. It's an abstract state of being. But the bed is a physical piece of furniture made of wood and springs. It completely changes the visual rendering in the listener's mind.
We have to talk about the transatlantic divide here because this specific rule causes endless confusion between Americans and British speakers, specifically regarding hospitals.
Oh, here's a fascinating historical split. In British English, they lean heavily into the zero article for healthcare. They say, she is in hospital.
Which sounds so strange to an American ear.
Right. Because the British are viewing the hospital as an institution of care. It's an abstract state of medical treatment, much like going to school.
But Americans say, she is in the hospital.
Because Americans retain the definite article, treating the hospital primarily as a physical destination you must travel to for a service. Both mean the exact same thing in their respective regions, but it reveals this really subtle difference in how the dialects evolve to conceptualize medical care.
That is so wild. So beyond institutions, when else are we supposed to actively avoid using these tracking bugs? When do we leave the camera off?
The most common scenario is when you are making broad, sweeping generalizations using plural nouns or uncountable nouns.
Like stating facts.
Yeah. If you want to state a universal trait about a species, you say, dogs are loyal. You intentionally omit the article.
Yeah, if I try to use the definite article and say the dogs are loyal, my brain instantly rebels. I think, wait, which dogs? The ones you just bought, the ones guarding that specific building.
Exactly. By adding the, you accidentally zoomed the camera in when you meant to leave it wide, and you just derailed the listener's comprehension.
Just with one tiny word.
Yep. The same happens with uncountable nouns. We say, water is essential for life, not the water is essential.
Makes sense.
We also drop articles for academic subjects. You study mathematics, not the mathematics. And meals usually take the zero article too. We had breakfast at 8 a.m.
Unless you are specifying a particular meal, right? Like the breakfast we had at that hotel was amazing.
Because you narrow the scope from the general concept of morning food to one specific shared memory of a meal.
Okay, let me recap this. We have covered the physical mouth mechanics of A and N. We have covered the panning and zooming of the camera lens. We have unpacked the geography philosophy, and we've explored the abstract power of the zero article.
That's a lot of ground.
It is. For a listener trying to hold a fluid conversation in real time, this sounds like an overwhelming amount of cognitive processing. So what does this all mean? How do we synthesize this into a tool?
Linguists often frame this as a mental traffic light system. It's basically a 3-step decision flow that you can run in milliseconds before you speak.
Okay, let's test this traffic light. I want to talk about honesty. I want to say that honesty is a good thing. I run to step 1. What's the first light?
Step 1. Ask yourself, is the noun countable? Can you have 1 honesty, 2 honesties, 3 honesties?
No. Honesty is an abstract concept. It's completely uncountable.
Red light. You stop right there. Uncountable nouns being used generally take the zero article. You just say, honesty is the best policy.
Got it.
If you try to say the honesty is the best policy, you've crashed the system.
Okay, let's try a green light. Let's use the word apple. Step 1. Is it countable? Yes, I can physically have 3 apples.
Green light. So you move to step 2. Ask yourself, is it singular or plural? If you were talking about apples in general, like apples are delicious, it's plural in general.
So red light again, you stop. Zero article.
Exactly. But if you were talking about 1 singular apple, you get a green light to continue to step 3.
And step 3 is the camera lens.
You've got it. Is this the first time it's being mentioned, or is it already known to the listener? If it's the first time, it's new information. You use a or an, checking your mouth mechanics to say an apple.
But if it's already known or if it is completely unique,
you use the apple I ate yesterday.
Countable, singular or plural, new or known. That algorithm solves almost every common mistake, especially the trap of doubling up with possessives.
Oh, yes. Possessives being words that claim ownership, like my, your, or their.
Right. You'll hear learners say, I left my book on the table.
Which is a complete system overload. Articles and possessives are both fighting to do the exact same job, identifying the specific noun. You cannot use both. It's either the book or my book.
Not both. Looking at all these nuances, it becomes obvious that when you drop an article or use the wrong one, you aren't just failing a grammar test. You are actively misdirecting the listener's brain.
You really are.
You are telling them to zoom in when they should zoom out. You are basically pointing that tracking bug at the wrong car.
And that is exactly why native speakers rely on them so heavily. Even if they have absolutely no idea how to articulate the rules we just discussed, it's an instinctual subconscious mapping of reality.
Which means mastering a, an, and the is really about mastering the subtle social cues of English storytelling. It's an exercise in empathy, really. You're constantly monitoring what your listener knows, what they don't know, and where you want their attention to go.
But this raises a really profound question about the future of human communication.
How so?
Well, we established earlier that millions of people speak languages like Hindi, Russian, and Chinese. Languages that function with incredible nuance, poetry, and precision without ever using articles. They get the meaning across just fine using word order or context.
True. And right now, English is spoken globally by vastly more non-native speakers than native ones.
Which leads to the ultimate thought experiment. As global English becomes the dominant medium for international business, science, and travel, will the language naturally adapt?
Oh, what?
Will we eventually strip away a, an, and the entirely to streamline global communication, seeing them as unnecessary friction? Or are these tiny tracking bugs so deeply hardwired into the English linguistic brain that we will cling to them forever to preserve our specific brand of shared context?
That is a fascinating puzzle. Are we looking at the eventual extinction of these three little words, or are they the irreplaceable glue holding English together? It's definitely something for you to ponder the next time you catch yourself talking about an hour or pointing out the moon. Keep listening, keep questioning, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.